What's up, everybody? We're back with another new episode of the Last Wave podcast. We dive into topics like ghosts, UFOs, cryptids, conspiracies, and much, much more. As always, thanks for listening. It means a whole lot. Check out the Facebook page if you haven't already. Same name and photo. Check us out on patreon.com. You can go in there and look us up. Again, same name and photo. Hit subscribe to be or hit become a patron. I have it set to $1 to $2 a month to $5 and $10 a month as well. Basically, it's a kind of a cheap way. It's more or less a subscription service. It takes like 2 minutes to sign up, and you basically get all the videos plus some extra stuff I put on there as far as articles, pictures, and if you do $5 or more, you get exclusive video content and exclusive podcasts as well. So it's pretty cool. It's a nice little kind of cheap way for fans to show our love for the show, and we are putting a whole lot of work into it. I'm bringing in friends and co-hosts and all kinds of different stuff. I'm going to do some test runs to see how phone interviews sound. Just doing a whole bunch, trying to expand as much as I can. This channel has been really popular, far more popular than I expected. We do a gaming channel as well, and we've been doing that for about 5 or 6 years. And I have half the subscribers on this already that I do there. So good stuff, really fun stuff. I'm glad everyone's liking it, and I'm so thankful. Anyway, today, this episode I've been struggling with. I've had it, typed up the notes for a while. I keep adding to it and taking stuff away. Probably going to be a two-parter because it's an intense episode. It's something that I've looked into for a while and something that continues to creep up in my research that I'm doing now. So today we're going to go over shadow people. Today things are going to get a little dark. Going to investigate stories and legends involving the shadow people, shadowy figures made of darkness that people around the world report seeing. Some are different sizes and apparently different outfits as well. So are these actually a mass subconscious delusion, like something we conjure up in our imaginations from fear and worries? Or are these actual entities that only want to terrorize humanity? Shadow people, also known as shadow beings, exist in all sections of the world in one facet or another. Much like some of the other legends we have covered, they go by different names, but very few varying descriptions. They are reported as humanoid in shape, sometimes appearing in a coat. Often some are reported with a wide-brimmed hat. These are known as the Hat Man. They are also reported to have orange or red tone to their face if you get up close, and along with reports of sharp teeth. Now, most people don't see these. Most people only see them if they are more or less attacked by these spirits and they're very, very close to them. Not sure what order I will have these episodes up in, but I do have a story of my own with a run-in with the Hat Man. I haven't put that episode up yet. Basically, a member of my family came to me saying they had seen a figure in their room, and at this time I had no idea about shadow people or anything. Telling them bad things, angry things, telling them to hurt others. The person told me I should be scared, or the person told me that the figure said I should be scared. I took that as a challenge, entered the room alone, and I prayed aloud in the room, forced the being from the area, and hung up crosses before I left. I never saw it, but there were never any reports of it after that. Since the 2000s, the public has become more aware of these entities. More than likely, the openness to discuss them hasn't increased the sightings, but increased people's comfort level with coming forward to report them. An episode of Coast to Coast AM aired in 2001, where Art Bell spoke on them and had some interviews. And after that point, at that point, he encouraged people to call in. Submit their stories, submit their drawings, and the website just lit up. So people have reported being accosted by these figures in many different ways. Oppressive figures, like in my experience, even more aggressive entities that apparently jump on people, weighing them down in their sleep or choking them, things of that nature. And then some people just report them seeing them standing around. Some psychologists say that it is just a hallucination, or for some reason or another. People who suffer from sleep paralysis, which is a scientific term, but it is not fun at all, and I don't necessarily agree with, just the generic term of sleep paralysis. Um, which again, it happened to me once. I can't imagine going through that often, as I know some people do. I also can't imagine it as something that science can really honestly explain. You're awake, but you're asleep at the same time, and you hallucinate. Um, I don't know. We may have to do an episode just on sleep paralysis alone. My experience was fairly minor, according to most people who suffer from it. More or less, I was laying on a couch, facing the back of the couch, with my arms crossed on my chest. Uh, Apparently, I woke up and had this sensation of, you know, I couldn't breathe, I couldn't speak. I knew I was like wide awake, and just this dread came over me that like this was going to be it. I was going to suffocate because my arms were too tightly wound, like tight around my chest, and I couldn't move. So I knew that was just it. And I went back to sleep and then woke up normally, and everything was fine, obviously. But I mean, that's what people report, and I could not imagine going through multiple occasions of sleep paralysis. Um, there's actually a website just for shadow people. The official Shadow People Archives website has lists of stories and encounters. A lot of them are pretty chilling. Like I tried to read a few of them, but there are pages and pages and pages of them. I mean, it's incredible how widespread this phenomenon really is. The main page actually shows a picture of the Hat Man, and there are some interesting stories on there. I definitely suggest checking out for yourself. Um, I do have an episode coming up regarding someone who contacted me, dealing with one of these entities and requesting my assistance with it. So just know that these entities are widespread, as I said. And like I said, I've written this episode a while back, and I keep adding to it. But if you listen to any of my episodes on the ad, which is an ad I put on Craigslist, looking for people with questions or concerns regarding the paranormal, really asking for help or trying to figure anything out, that kind of stuff, you would not believe the number of people. It's probably 80% of the contact I receive is people thinking they're cursed or reporting shadow people. I mean, it's far, far greater. And that's just in North Carolina. I didn't post it anywhere outside the state. So, I mean, it's really sad and incredible how widespread it is, even just in, just the one place where people happen to go on Craigslist. I mean, that's a pretty small margin of people to happen to buy that page that have the same problem. So definitely something to keep in mind that is pretty incredible. People are not sure if they're ghosts or demons or, as some think, interdimensional beings. In my opinion, these beings are something I refer to as paranormal leeches or parasites. They feed off energy or even the fear of humans, not they fear humans. They attach to you and cause trouble for you for years. That is one possibility. The interdimensional being thing, I don't know about that. I mean, it could be that they're tied into the hidden world research. They could be, I mean, they could be dark elves. That could be what the reports of those are from thousands of years ago. Um, they certainly fit the malevolent feel and overall darkness that would be expected with dark elves. So they literally could be anything. And some people actually think that they are here to watch over some of us and keep us safe. So it is clear that not all of them have actually harmed people. One person I certainly trust. Hold on, let me backtrack a little bit. So these beings, and this again, I'm trying to update this episode. I should have just rewrote it, but since I've been hearing stuff and people with curses and thinking they're affected by these shadow people, they honestly, guys, could be anything. And some people are saying that they're used in black magic, and black magic has been used to summon them and to send them after people. So, I mean, that opens up a whole new black bag of this kind of stuff. I mean, look at let's go all the way back to the Bell Witch haunting and that entity sent after the family by the witch. I mean, that could have been a shadow person. I mean, these things are so just everywhere. You can literally tie them to anything. Anyway, one person I certainly trust when it comes to paranormal is Rosemary Ellen Guiley. She is a paranormal researcher and author, researching the paranormal since 1983, and I hold her on really the same esteem level as Ed and Lorraine Warren, if that gives you any idea. I know those names are far more mainstream because of the movies. Sadly, a lot of people don't actually research the Warrens, and you definitely should if you haven't. So definitely look into them. But her books cover everything from ghosts, vampires, to demons. And one of her books, The Jinn Connection, and that's spelled Djinn, links shadow people to the jinn, which are to Westerners genies. But they are much more than just lamp dwelling, blue, musical number creating, lovable guys. While I didn't have time to get and read the book just yet, I found an interview, or the book that she wrote on them. I did find an interview on psychologytoday.com where she did regarding the book. A couple questions asked were really interesting to me. Some of the questions go, one thing I noticed about the jinn, as you described them, is that they appear to be highly adept shapeshifters. In that case, can we actually recognize the entity, recognize an entity like this in our midst? Supposedly they have giveaway signs. In old jinn lore, they could not duplicate 100% of the human body, and usually their animal-like hairy legs and feet gave them away. I've speculated that shadow people wear hats and cowls and coats to cover up imperfect heads or body parts. Some experiencers say that the eyes of the human-shaped jinns will shift to odd colors or reptilian appearance. I believe the jinn and other shapeshifters are among us every day, and we never know unless we have certain experiences with them. And that could very well explain the red faces, the orange faces, things of that nature as well. That was my own little tidbit there. Another question is, since they apparently have a parallel universe, what motivates the jinn to be among us, and why should they bother? Our answer? According to lore, the jinn were here first and were pushed out by us or for us. And some of them are still angry about that and want the place back. Their motives include curiosity, infatuation, obsession, playfulness, trickiness, hostility, and malevolence. Some people feel the jinn are benevolent and helpful, but if they are, it is always for a price. People have a tendency to think that other entities are like cut out cookies all the time. The jinn, as well as other beings, are varied, much like humans, neither all good nor all bad, and all with unique personalities. Alright, so back to me. I certainly plan to pick that book up though. Given this newfound information, I looked into jinn a little bit myself. They originate from the Middle East, pre-Islam, but were then adapted into religion. They are seen as neither angels nor demons, but can be good or evil. Though the lines are blurred, demons can only be evil. So it seems that even in legend, they are a completely separate entity. An excerpt I did find from the book was, the exact origins of belief in the jinn are not entirely known. Some scholars of the Middle East hold that they originated as malevolent spirits residing in deserts and unclean places, who often took the form of animals, and others hold that they were originally pagan nature deities who gradually became marginalized as other deities took greater importance according to common Arabian belief. Soothsayers, or pre-Islamic philosophers and poets, were inspired by the jinn. However, jinn were feared and thought to be responsible for causing various diseases and mental illnesses. Julius Wellhausen observed that such spirits were thought to inhabit desolate, dingy, and dark places, and that they were feared. One had to protect oneself from them, but they were not objects of a true nature, is what it says. So you see in that the possibility for them to be connected to the hidden world research that I've been doing. Living in dark, hidden places. You also have a bit of what I spoke about, them being able to cause illness, physical and mental. My discovery of these entities came from an article. Can't remember where I read it, but it was talking about, and that by that I mean these entities as in the the paranormal leeches, parasites, that kind of thing. I don't remember where I read this article, but it was talking about regression therapy being used for ET abductees. While under this therapy, the people would state that they see entities attached to them, clinging like leeches. These beings were thought to be a cause for depression, anxiety, and unexplained ill health. I mean, you can't eat a bunch of garbage food and then blame these things, but you get what I mean. All right. So I feel at this point we are really no closer to explaining the shadow people than we were when we started, sadly. Are they just ghosts? Are they dark elves, interdimensional beings? Are they the legendary jinn, but the West just has no knowledge of them outside of Disney? In the end, after reading into the history and lore of the jinn, I think that is the strongest possibility. And I like the idea of dark elves because it sounds cool. But if the jinn have spread to America, could they not have spread to Europe long ago and been mistaken for these elves? You can't deny the connections when you tie all these entities together, hidden from view, here before us, some good, some bad. You know, I started this podcast with the very theory that most of the paranormal world is connected in some way. And the more I research, the more I see that it might be true. Either way, to close the case on these shadow people right now would be foolish. I'm going to have to go back in and probably do a second episode of the new stuff I've learned, the new stuff I continue to learn, and all of that. So definitely have to dive into the jinn lore a little further, find some more connections to other entities as well, and finally try to get some answers on what is out there in the shadows. So this is actually probably my longest episode so far, so I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. It's a lot to unpack in this episode. I probably should have made it two, but there's these shadow people entities, like there's so much to unpack. So we're definitely have to do another episode. Again, thanks for listening. Thank you so much. Check out the Facebook page. Check out the Patreon. Throw a like on the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. All this stuff means more than you could even imagine. This is a real passion for me and for the people that are going to be joining me, and we certainly do appreciate it. So thanks for listening again, and we will catch you next time.